Mr. Giridhar JG, CEO and Managing Director at Sierra ODC Private Limited. Mr. Giridhar would be showcasing a case study about their project and journey towards achieving net zero water. Over to you, Mr. Giridhar.
Thank you, Manisha. Thiruvalluvar, the great Tamil poet, 2400 years ago said, "Neerindri amayadu ullagu," which means when water fails, functions of nature ceases. What he said 2400 years ago is only more relevant in today's context. Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. Thanks a lot for this opportunity to present our case study on net zero water. So this is our project. It's India's highest ranking green building rated under the IGEC Green New Building Rating System. It's called the E-Facility Building. And this is the score. We scored about 93 out of the possible 100 points. And you can see that the water conservation, we have scored 18 out of 18. So water crisis in India. So India possesses just 4% of world's freshwater with a population of about 16% of world's inhabitants. And we thrive more on the groundwater because it provides 80% of India's drinking water and nearly 2/3 of irrigation needs. So this is roughly about 1/4 of the global usage that led to a drop of 4 meters in many parts of India in terms of groundwater levels. Again, we have severe water quality problems in India because it has gone really bad because of sewage discharge, surface runoff due to urbanization, and untreated industrial discharge. With the COVID pandemic going on, the amount of soap usage, detergent usage, and sanitizers and all that is really contaminating the water. And we really do not know how it's going to go forward with the amount of chemicals used in these products. WHO reports that 163 million people in India lack access to safe drinking water and 210 million lack proper sanitation. World Bank estimates that 28.1% of deaths in India took place due to communicable diseases linked to unsafe water and sanitation. And this situation hasn't improved in the past few years as well. So with respect to our building, what did we do to go green? So we employed water use reduction, recycling and reuse, and water conservation strategies to reduce overall water needs. So these are some of the typical recommendations which we find in all the green building norms, and then so we employed all of them. So we use waterless urinals. We use aerators for reduced flow of water in the taps. All our taps are sensor fitted because the sensor fitted taps really cut down on the water loss due to manual operation because people don't close it, or anything manually operated fails after some time. But whereas sensor fitted, because there is no mechanical movement, it continues to work fine. And so we have installed all sensor fitted taps, dual flush toilets, efficient plumbing fixtures. Rainwater harvesting. So we capture the entire rainwater from our premises and do double filtration, and then we mix it with the fresh water so that the water is fully utilized. Sewage treatment plant. We have a very good fully automated sewage treatment plant which converts all the grey water into reusable water. So the 100% recycled water is used for flushing and gardening, and we have installed a lot of plants that use very less water. Our irrigation is completely automated again, because we often find that the irrigation, when it is manually controlled, like people it's very inconsistent, and sometimes the water goes, sometimes they leave for half an hour, sometimes leave for 45 minutes or 1 hour. So it's very inconsistent, but so because of that, we made it completely automated, and it really helped us during the pandemic, because for many months during the lockdown, the building was completely automated and it was functioning perfectly fine. So this is a new thing which we implemented in our facility. It's a steam cleaner with vacuum. So like we read about it because we wanted to use less of chemicals due to the greenness, and we also wanted to use very less water. And so we found that steam vacuums are really efficient in this. And we use just 8 liters of water per day for cleaning a 16,000 square foot of office space, indoor space. So it saves about 75% of water compared to other ways of cleaning. And we absolutely don't use any chemicals, neither green chemicals or green products or other chemical products, because the steam, when it is applied on the surfaces for a certain period of time, kills 99.9% germs, and it's far better than the other cleaning products available in the market. And so this is predominantly used in other countries, mostly in hospitals and cafeterias and things like that. So we implemented this about a year before the pandemic started, and we were surprised when we found that this is the best way to disinfect any premises without using too much of chemicals, because the rampant usage of chemicals now due to the pandemic is again a threat to the green economy. And so considering that, using steam cleaners made a real good impact in our premises. So our pumping and water treatment is completely automated, and this helps in reducing water and electricity wastage. And again, so when it's fully automated, there is not much of human intervention is needed. So everything operates smooth, and all we have to do is take good care of the preventive maintenance activities. And if that is taken care properly, the building runs by itself without any human intervention. So the other thing which we thought was like we need to create awareness among our people, because one set of people, facility managers or the management, are thinking about saving electricity, saving water, reducing waste, and all that is not going to help. Because the organization and the entire employees of the organization, the occupants of the building should, lay enough emphasis on saving energy, saving resources, and only that can create the right impact needed for becoming net zero. So we considered this, and so we have implemented something called energy dashboards, which displays the water consumption on a regular basis, based on the past hour, how much of water has been utilized, and how it compares with yesterday, how it compares with the last 7 days. And all this is compared with in a regular basis. And so when the utilization is reduced, then we even send the notifications to the employees saying that we have been good in saving water. And so that kind of awareness we have been continuously creating right from the start of the building, and it has yielded very good results for us. The water consumed, so we daily get daily usage reports, and we also have threshold-based hourly and daily excess usage alerts, which help in identifying the faults very quickly. And so even during remote operations, our team, our facility management team, which may be the supervisors who may be remotely working from home, they get alerts in case something is wrong. And so they are able to reach out to the on-site team to go and look into the problem and quickly fix it. Because leaky taps or leaky pipes and things like that can result in huge water wastage. And if this is identified quickly and the faults are fixed quickly, then we can save a lot of water. Most cases, we find that people are hesitant to report, or they don't take the pains of reporting when there is a problem in a facility, in a toilet or any other common areas and things like that. And so we wanted to make sure it's very easy for people to report problems. And so we have something called an instant feedback system, which is basically kiosks installed outside the toilets and in common areas. And with a single click, the people will be able to give a feedback, and also with another click, they'll be able to say what is the problem in case they gave a poor rating. So what happens is when they give this kind of rating, poor rating, and also select what is the problem, a help desk ticket is created for the facility management team immediately. and then gets assigned to the technician or the housekeeping staff to go and fix the problem immediately. And if they don't acknowledge the particular ticket, or if they don't act on it, then the supervisor gets an alert, and so they can ensure that any problems can be immediately fixed, so that the water wastage can be totally avoided, because the fault identification can ensure that there is no very less wastage. We have also installed something called smart buttons, which are again does the function of kiosk, because kiosks are expensive to install and maintain. So these are very cheap $20 buttons, which doesn't need any cabling, nothing, and so it is internet connected. So these buttons are stuck on stickers like this, and so each operation, so if they have a problem, they just go and press a single button, and the same ticket gets created at the back end, and so the problem can be addressed. So this is an easy way to address problems. And there are also things like automatic leak detectors, which has come into the market, but unfortunately, it's still not fully available in the market, and we haven't been able to install this yet. But there is a nice technology wherein, like places where we have prone to leaks, we put these sensors, and so whenever there is a leak detected, immediately call is raised, and so we can go and address this immediately. So the other thing which we found was like educated, or the employees who are technical people or other employees, they can be created sufficient awareness, and so they see the dashboards and the things like that, and they take care. But what we found was difficult to control is some contract housekeeping staff who come and take care of the kitchen utensils, washing and things like that. It was very difficult for us to create an awareness and push them to save water. Of course, we do have dishwashers and things like that, which are very, very efficient. But still that we need some amount of manual washing. And so we found that, that is an area where a lot of water wastage was happening. So what we decided was to bring in some kind of an incentive for the housekeeping staff to encourage them to save water. And this really worked well, because there was a huge improvement in terms of water utilization once we made it, provided these incentives. So the outcome, so all these measures resulted in we using only 7 liters per person per day with kitchen operations, and we have more than 25% of vegetation in our premises. With all this, like we could achieve utilization of just 11 liters per person per day. And so this is against normal building uses. Normal buildings use about 45 liters per person per day, and so which has resulted in a 75% improvement in water use, and water use reduction is about 75%. So I just want to touch upon a few typical issues we face, which could, if it's taken care, it can really help us to save water. So rainwater harvesting, generally the design of drains and collection capacities is normally not well designed, and so when there are heavy rains, like we tend to miss collecting such water, and so the capacities have to be really designed, not considering too much on the cost aspects, but in terms of becoming net zero, and that would help in saving a lot of water. And so the surface water, the rainwater we collect, it has a problem. Like we get, in spite of the sand or carbon filtration, UV filtration, double filtration, in spite of all that, we get coliform kind of things forming. And so mixing it with fresh water is still a problem. And so we are still figuring out how to solve this problem. But then right now we have diverted the rainwater to recycled water, because we need more recycled water now. Because of the pandemic, that we don't use much water, and so for plants we need more of recycled water, and so the rainwater gets mixed with the recycled water. Then the toilet flushing tanks and fittings, usage of recycled water or untreated salt water results in leaks and water wastage, and so this so the water needs a better treatment, and otherwise we'll end up losing water due to leaks. Water level indicators is the other thing which we need to maintain well in a fully automated environment, because if the water level indicators fail, then there will be overflows and things like that. And in an unattended environment in today's context, so these things have to work very well. And so a good amount of preventive maintenance work has to be taken care, and good products have to be used to ensure a fully automated environment results in complete resource saving. So sensor taps, like usage of electrical instead of battery operated, will reduce failures and reduce e-waste. And STP overflow, and sometimes when unattended plumbing leaks happen, then the STP overflows and that becomes a major problem. And some recommendations: drinking water in-house treatment could reduce carbon footprint due to transportation. Non-drinking water treatment, usage of water conditioners like template assisted crystallization instead of salt-based and reverse osmosis plants can save a huge amount of water for both residential and commercial spaces. And the turbidity is something which is important to control for having clean water for a healthy environment. So epoxy coating of the storage tanks can help in maintaining the same. So thank you very much. That ends my presentation.
Thank you, sir. We are grateful for your time to share your experiences. Next question from Ms. Sanvika Chaudhary to Mr. Giridhar. What can be the first step towards going net zero water? Is it green buildings that can be the starting point? Over to you, Mr. Giridhar.
Yes, I would say definitely green buildings is a very good starting point, because the kind of requirements to achieve those points like drove us towards learning a lot on that and implementing all those technologies. Without going the green building way, I'm very sure I would not have had access to all this, all those recommendations, and with which we could go deep into and achieve what we achieved.
Thank you very much, Mr. Giridhar. We in IGBC are delighted to work with you and your team in your journey towards net zero water.